full-length race. Today it's going to catch off, huh? Catch22, catch off. It's going to be the Nova Drilling Catch22. Shout out to the sponsor, Nova Drilling. Nova Drilling provides geotechnical, environmental, and marine infrastructure drilling services throughout the Maritimes and Nunavut. The main type of drilling offered is diamond core, which provides a bedrock core sample for engineering consultants to design foundations and install environmental monitoring wells. So a shout out there to Robert McGinnis there, the owner of Nova Drilling. Also sponsors a couple of the riders there. One that's in this class, starting from the front row. Now, a minute before the start of this race, run you through the order. The current championship leader sitting on pole position out of Chesapeake, Nova Scotia, sponsored by Porter's Lake Pub. That would be the 20 of Jeanette Ball. Jeanette currently has 158 points. Challenge for second or the win, but where this championship challenge for second or the win, but where this championship fight continues on this morning is between him and the runner on the second row, fourth in the championship with 71 points. So only 1 point is separating the 53 of Jim Marlowe, currently sitting in fourth, with Tony Martin sitting in third. Talking to Tony Martin this morning, we had a little pit crew or a little interview there with Tony Martin. Said that Sarah Martin, his wife, gave him some inspirational words in the night just to say, suck it up, Buttercup. Tony Martin unusually running a little slower in his lap times yesterday. Asking Tony about it. He had no idea why, so maybe that words of advice from Sarah might be what he needs to get back to the lap times that Tony runs here at Atlantic Motorsport Park. Picking up the second row is the 88 of John McRae. Third row sees the 15 of Pat Patterson out of Parlsboro, Nova Scotia, sponsored by sARL Racing and Nicole Burr. Tied with Pat Patterson is the 81 of Oleg Kabasha. Oleg out of Dieppe, Nova Scotia. And making up the third row is the 69 of Ryan Huff. Fourth row sees the 27 of Brianna Mosher out of Lower Sackville, sponsored by Liberty CC Plus Racing and ABS Fairings. And making up the fourth row is the 36 of Lucas Bull. Fifth row sees Robert McGinnis, rider number 73, sponsored by Nova Drilling Inc. And the 84. Now in the starter's orders, seconds away here, and we're racing. Oh, Tony Martin had to chop the throttle, was going to have a wheelie. I think a few riders might have gone around him. Might have been Angus McCarty from the middle of the front row, just getting ahead of Jeanette Ball down into turn one, but we'll wait here from the tower out of turn two. That is Angus McClarty, followed by Jeanette Ball. Tony Martin in third. So able to regroup there after having to chop the throttle at the start. Looks like Pat Patterson is in fourth, followed by Jim Marlowe in fifth. So Tony Martin right now pushing hard to stay ahead of Jim Marlowe. It's really just whoever finishes ahead of who on the track between Tony Martin and Jim Marlowe is going to give that last podium or last place in the championship. Now out of turn 7, Angus McClarty, only a bike length ahead. Jeanette Ball looks like she wants to go side by side with Angus McClarty. But Angus letting off the brakes into turn 9, staying ahead of Jeanette Ball. Coming out of 9 now. She was thinking about an inside move there at 10. But now onto the front straightaway. Nothing separating these three riders. Other thing to mention as well, these riders know when they're pushing hard for the championship, they may get below the minute 22 mark. So this first lap, there is no recorded time since they're starting from a standstill. So we'll keep an eye on those lap times as well. Because if you go faster than a minute 22, you're disqualified and lose all those points. So the interesting one I'm going to keep an eye on is Tony Martin, because he's staying right behind Angus McClarty and Jeanette Ball there in third place position over the top of 5. So he may be flirting with the 122s. Jim Marlowe getting frisky out there over the top of 5, going side by side with Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson using the horsepower of that 600 to get back around Jim Marlowe. So Jim Marlowe looking like an inside move here into 9, side by side. But Jim Marlowe electing to just tuck up in behind Pat Patterson there, outside, or coming out of 9. Now onto the front straightaway. My eyes are on these lap times. All the riders were slower than that 122 there at the top. So far so good for the lap times. They're doing 123, so they have another second or so before they start flirting with that 122 mark. But now through turn 4, Jeanette Ball looking hungry to take over this lead, side by side, going through turn 4. It is Jeanette Ball taking over the lead over the top of 5 now from Angus McClarty. Down the back straightaway, Tony Martin still right there as well. Jeanette Ball down the back straightaway has opened up about 4 bike lengths. Angus McClarty last time answered right back again into turn 9 in yesterday's race, but just not close enough. Jeanette Ball playing a smart move. She went on the inside of 9, playing a blocking move there to take away that inside pass from Angus McClarty. So now onto the front straightaway. Jeanette Ball 3 bike lengths ahead of Angus McClarty, followed by Tony Martin. All 3 riders flirting with that 122 mark. Jeanette Ball with a 122.1, only 1/10 of a second above that 122 mark. So she is definitely starting to flirt with that 122 mark. Only a 10th away. Angus McClarty with a 122.6, and Tony Martin as well with a 122.6. So those 3 riders getting real close to that 122 mark as they're now over the top of 5. Still Jeanette Ball 3-4 bike lengths ahead of Angus McClarty. The same gap back to the 3rd place rider of Tony Martin. These 3 riders opening up about 5-6 seconds over Pat Patterson in 4th and Jim Marlowe in 5th. So right now, Jim Marlowe is hoping that Tony Martin gets below that 122 mark. But through turn 9, side by side was Jeanette Ball and Angus McClarty. Jeanette Ball holding off Angus through turn 9 onto the front straightaway. Oh, Jeanette Ball, a 121.5. Jeanette, she's going to be happy about that. It's bittersweet. These riders want to break out of this class, but what has happened now is Jeanette Ball has gone below that, so now that puts the lead on Angus McClarty. He's going to get, if he wins, if it finishes the way it is, he's getting 26 points, and that's going to put him ahead of Jeanette Ball in the championship. So now she's going to want to hope that Angus McClarty doesn't know that she has broken out and is going to try to push hard to get back into the lead. Through here in turn 9, only a bike length separates the two, so we'll see what happens here with the lap times as they got a couple of corners to go. Tony Martin's still right there as well. He may break out and give third place to Jim Marlowe. Oh, Angus McClarty has just broken out as well with a 1:21.8. That has given the championship back to Jeanette Ball at the moment. Tony Martin as well has broken out, so now that gives Jim Marlowe a chance at third in the championship. So right now, Pat Patterson is the current leader of this race, sitting there in fourth. Happy member of a fan club of Pat Patterson behind or underneath me here. Just a big old roar from him when he found out he was in the lead. But now that gives Jim Marlowe second and John McRae third. The only way these riders will know if they have broken out is from their pit crew on pit wall. So these three riders have to keep an eye on Pat Patterson here and Jim Marlowe. Jim's starting to get a little bit closer here to Pat. If he knows that he's going for the race win, he may try to push a little harder here. Continuing to lower her lap times. Fastest lap of the race from Jeanette Ball with a 1:21.4. Looks like Pat Patterson might have got some signals from people there on pit lane. So he may know now that he is racing for the win. Out of turn 2, I'll keep an eye on this battle between Jim Marlowe and Pat Patterson. Right now, about half a second up the road is Pat Patterson from Jim Marlowe. Coming out of turn 4, Pat Patterson holding on to this lead over the top of 5. Jim Marlowe getting within 2 bike lengths. Pat Patterson will be able to open up the gap here down the back straightaway. That's a 600 versus an R3, so it's going to be all down to turn 9 here, and unfortunately the horsepower is going to be an advantage down the front straightaway. So John McRae starting to get in here as well. So now they're coming out of turn 9. Pat Patterson with the lead. Jim Marlowe second. John McRae right there, only about 5 bike lengths back, coming onto the front straightaway. It's going to be a drag race to the finish with Pat Patterson taking the win, followed by Jim Marlowe, John McRae in third, Robert McGinnis in fourth, Ryan Hum in fifth. Lucas Bowe crossing the line in sixth. Oleg Kabasha in a battle with Brianna Mosher. Oleg holding off Brianna Mosher to the line, followed by Piotr Kabula. We meant to go down and talk to that rider yesterday to get the correct pronunciation of their name, but that rider coming in ninth.